never learned how to read.
Would you kindly?
Go over, I'm like, why is it so dark?
Listen, I'm not saying I've ever seen you and Batman together, but I haven't seen you guys together.
You know what's funny is I have a shirt that literally says hi, how's everyone doing?
I'm
Gucci.
doing good. I got aside from the refrigerator thing going on, like we doing all right.
Mm.
That's just weird, man. He
Yeah,
just
I
died.
yeah. So like the wife noticed that there was a little bit of water in front of it, and I was like,
Oh,
okay. I
it's
mean,
that.
that's probably all right. Like it
No, it's not.
probably nothing super serious. Um, and then she opened it, and because our kid likes to mess with the settings because naturally they make them sound like happy little dings. So he's like,
Yeah.
bet, let's
Push
go ahead and do
buttons.
this.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe he had turned up the temperature too much and some stuff kind of melted and thawed, which some of it did end up thawing out a little bit. Thankfully, not past like not a warm temperature, so it's still
Yeah.
cold. It's just
Right.
not freezing. So I'm like, worst case scenario, we could just kind of use it as a second refrigerator and primarily use our deep freeze for our
Mm.
frozen stuff until we have the money to either have it looked at or get a new one. Chances are, because it's a smart fridge, it's probably going to be cheaper to just get a new one.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
God, what makes it a smart fridge? How is it suddenly smarter than any other fridge out there?
Because
Still
for
keeps
whatever
everything
reason,
colder.
I shit you not, there is a Bluetooth symbol on this, and yet I have never been able to connect to it. It doesn't even show up on my phone.
You
That
like
sounds like
you
false advertisement.
Yeah,
why do
I
you what do you get from like what do you use the Bluetooth for?
I
Like what
don't
do you specifically
know.
need Bluetooth in your fridge
I
for?
don't know, and
Hyundai
that's
Kona
what.
versus Toyota Corolla Cross.
What the?
Look what Kona had.
What?
Hyundai Kona
Oh.
versus Toyota Corolla Cross.
Sorry.
Look what
Flashbang yourself.
No. There was an ad running uh on my page, and I hear Toyota Cross. I'm like, my car still works, thank you.
It just knows.
I'm like, man, does this mean my car is going next? Because I don't have the money for all this stuff.
Fuck.
Do you have the money for much of anything?
No.
Yeah, that's the
The
fun
human
part of being
condition.
broke, huh?
Yeah. But the good news is, either this Tuesday or in 2 weeks from now, I'm getting my first bonus, and we're going to use that to hopefully get my wife a birthday anniversary present, 10
Hell
years this
yeah.
month. Our anniversary, not her age, that'd be weird. My kiddo a birthday present, and hopefully have a little bit left over to just go ahead and get like a month ahead on all of our bills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah, fingers crossed, good things happen. And where I'm working right now, like the shop that I'm covering for, I'm like, just place me on the drive-through one night. I just saw somebody leave with $250 in tips, half of which they didn't have to claim because it was cash. Put me there for an evening, please. I did not get put there for an evening.
I mean, that's unfortunate.
It's fine. But hey, everybody, welcome to Scheduling Conflicts. I am Brickerboom.
I'm the baby rhino or Marcus, whatever you want to call me.
Bivok.
I always see that big smile because you know what I'm about to fucking say.
I mean, listen, when you have an intro that works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know?
Exactly.
Don't worry, I'll break it at some point.
Honestly, fair. But I am thinking at some point I'm gonna end up redoing this wall behind me.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know how the cube storage things are set up? I kind of want to have the entire wall be cubes.
Just
Yeah, and
These
instead of
squares.
the hats there, I want to put in like
They all have their own little
Pokemon
cube.
plushes, Lego figurines, stuff like that. Like, I think that'd be fun.
You know,
Yeah.
you get all your you get all the cubes together. Then off the
Okay.
cubes, you hang every hat off of like one little corner of the cube while you keep something inside the cube.
I could do that technically.
Yes.
Some of the hats would fare better than others, but then you got like the hamburger hat that I'm seeing behind me. That would just take up the entirety of said cube. But the hot dog hat would be good to go.
Oh yeah, that's just because it's long and not as girthy as the
Mhm.
burger.
Burger be
Love,
thick.
love a good girth.
And a burger,
Oh,
yeah.
Earthquake.
But what have you guys been up to this weekend?
Had D&D on Saturday,
Okay.
which
Yesterday.
was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday. That was a lot of fun. I got to talk to rats without using speak with animals as a druid, so that was cool. The rats decided to turn around, shake their little booty at us, show a little symbol, and then we ran off and saw a Kenku.
Dang. All right. All right.
Normal D&D stuff.
That's good. I
DDD.
emotionally traumatized one of my players. She was visiting home. They upset the wrong people, and in doing so, they decided to go ahead and hang 5 people in the town that she knew very well. So, you know,
Wait,
there
what?
was that. So, they are hunting down lycanthropes right now, and
Why would you hunt a lycanthrope? They're so cute.
God, you would be the person to say that. But anyway, they're hunting down lycanthropes, and because they've started making a name for themselves, the person that knows what they've done ended up killing and hanging 5 innocent villagers, and now she's kind of dealing with those consequences.
Why? For what reason did they have to hang these? Did they thought they were lycanthropes? Huh?
No, the party didn't hang them. The lycanthropes hung them and dressed
Oh.
them up to look like their characters as basically a warning. Yeah.
Oh, we
and then-
love that.
Warning.
Yeah, and
I
then
would
they
need that warning
yeah.
pretty hard.
Yeah, and then they fought a troll and almost died. It was great. But they're learning how to fight together after 8 sessions. So we're
Teamwork.
doing good. Yeah, exactly. Teamwork
Makes
makes
the
the
dream
dream
work.
work.
How do you not do the teamwork?
Because I work alone.
Shut
Batman.
up, Batman. No one talks to you.
Can't rely on anybody except myself.
Anime glasses. Ching!
Batman, no one talks
Oh,
to you.
and then Ronifero, his character took a vow of not killing to please his goddess, and he goes, technically this isn't killing. One of the creatures fell into a minecart, and he just shoved the minecart down the cliff. He didn't kill him, gravity did.
That he killed him.
Nope.
No matter how you
Nope.
say, he killed
Nope.
him.
Nope.
Cause of death was gravity.
Yep, can't confirm.
My boy's innocent. Leave him
Well,
alone.
what
He
caused
did
him to
nothing
fall
wrong.
through the gravity?
Doesn't matter.
Gravity.
Gravity killed him.
Yep. Not his fault the minecart was rolled that far,
All right, why did the minecart roll that far?
because it was a downward slope.
Okay,
So that's
but
how
it was
that's
sitting
how
stably at the
wheels
top.
Exactly.
that's how
yeah.
wheels work. They go end over end and
Stable at the top of it, wasn't it?
Yep, see? Exactly.
it's run out #RunAfterRow was innocent.
Yep. For the
He's
first time
not
in his
innocent
life.
of anything.
For the
Whatever,
first time in his
exactly.
life, he's innocent.
Yeah, exactly. He's never been innocent.
I believe he has
Bitch.
always been innocent.
Yeah, exactly.
Bitch.
RunAfterRow checks in the mail.
This is how you get all your checks, right?
Yeah.
All your money. You just say they're innocent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just like the American
It's-
justice
it's okay,
I
system.
was about to say, like, that's the American justice system if I've ever heard the American justice system.
I know a cop. I know a cop. She can help out.
Yeah.
I actually know a few cops, but she's the only one that's like a good one. So
Are the other ones
like a
dirty
good person.
cops?
I don't know if they're dirty cops, but they're shitty people. So I assume as much. I don't
Alright,
even know
that's
if they
fair.
legally count as cops. They work at a prison or something. They've referred to themselves as cops. I don't
Oh, they're correction officers, I'm guessing?
It's something of that nature. I don't fucking.
Yeah, if that's the case, technically not a cop, but I mean,
So they couldn't
Honestly,
even do that right. God,
I-
they're failures.
I would not want to work in a prison. I'll throw that out there.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. Nope, I'm I
Yeah, I'm much happier not in a prison in any
Same.
capacity.
in any capacity.
There is no situation that I would ever want to be in or around them.
Yeah, that's fair. But hey, you know, A lot of places do hire convicted felons, even United States presidency. So all is well here. We're totally fine.
Although as a very big, and this won't mean anything to the two of you, but I can say now, so since we went there, as a big fan of the Calgary Flames, one of the few bright spots of this team is a few key players, one of which being Finnish legend Mika Kiprusoff,
Okay.
who wore number 34.
Okay.
So now I have two things that I love the number 34 about.
Is it Rule 34 and that?
Okay, I have three things I love the number 34 about.
All right.
I don't know what you expected.
No, honestly, yeah. Huh.
I just anytime I see 34, like anytime I see that number, it comes up in my life so many times.
How?
It's like the
why-
number
why?
23.
Yeah, it's my number 23. Even when my nephew was born, we did a game where everybody pitched in like $10 or something, and we split the winner and my sister and her husband. And whoever guessed the minute that my nephew was born, I guessed 34. He was born on the 33rd minute. Sis, you couldn't have held it in for like 30 fucking seconds.
'Cause,
Do you know how many times I had to wait on her and I really had to pee? And like, you couldn't
Yeah.
do that for me the one time. I could have had like $300.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing is, if you're going by Price is Right rules, if you're over, yeah, you don't win.
And the best part was, if I remember correctly, no one had guessed 35 or 36. So like, if she hit 34, there was a
You would've been
strong
set.
chance I was gonna have been the closest one anyway. But
Now,
no.
was money
Nope.
bet on this?
Yeah, it was a 50-50. So everybody pulled in like $10. Half of it went to my sister and her husband, and the other half went to whoever.
Oh, that's so cute.
No, I was
Sorry,
about to
thing.
say, when you're betting on something like this, I hope not all the money went to the people putting the bet.
No. I don't even think it was actually 50-50. I think it was like 70-30 or something.
But
And like
also-
everybody that was in also got them like a gift.
I like
because,
that.
yeah, baby. I gave
I
him a hat.
remember the best thing that we did was when we did the baby shower for my kiddo. We ended up doing an Amazon $50 Amazon raffle, and to get a ticket to enter this, all you had to do was buy a box of diapers. Didn't matter what size, didn't matter what brand, just a box of diapers. We got so many people that bought diapers because you could literally buy 2 or 3 boxes for $50. So people were
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. We did not have to buy diapers for the first 18 months that he was born.
That's and with how expensive
know-
diapers seem to be now, that
Yeah.
seems
Yeah. We
almost there. So close to just
Yeah.
never having to buy diapers at all.
well, keep in mind, I mean,
you wear them for a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
No,
given the
of
fact
course.
that he's autistic as well, like he's still in them kind of situation. It is I want to say $40 for a pack of 70, something like that, somewhere around in that area.
Seems around. I
Yeah.
picked them up for my sister a few times. That seems about right to
Yeah.
what they would be. I mean, most things in general of like any kind of like self-care hygienic product, whether it be things like that or like any period product or something, even I would say like condoms, it all costs way too fucking much.
Yeah,
And
especially
especially all that stuff should be free.
I agree,
should just
especially
be able
like
to have it.
condoms and stuff like that. Like,
Period products.
yeah, that too. Because I mean, periods, especially like, the woman can't help it. It's gonna happen every single month until they hit menopause. Like, why are we
There-
punishing
It
people for
doesn't
this?
stop.
There was an actual argument that I had that I saw somebody post, I think it was online, or something that someone told me was said to them. I don't remember the exact context, but the actual argument was, if we put them in like middle school and high school bathrooms, we'll be encouraging women to do that. And I'm like,
Good.
Ew.
Good. Encourage
women
them
to do
to
what?
know how to
And if we
actually
put-
use these products.
if we guys, but come on now, if we put toilet paper in the bathrooms, we're going to encourage kids to take a shit at school. And like,
So-
come on, we cannot have it.
Speaking of school and like like all this kind of stuff, what was y'all's sex ed like? Because ours was literally just watching a very old film strip of like how a baby was actually made. That was it. Like, we didn't learn anything else. We didn't learn what condoms were, how to put them on. Nothing. What was
So
your
we-
guys' like?
We learned about contraceptives of all kinds, and we were also shown how babies are made. So we learned pretty much everything there is
Yeah.
to learn about sex education.
Maybe it was just
We-
because I was in a country school then.
We
Well,
learned
yes, most likely.
we learned a fair bit about it. Like, I think it was pretty comprehensive around like just
Oh,
health,
no.
and a pretty good amount of it was basically like the inevitability of like what was like we know it's gonna happen, so like
Yeah.
here are things that you need to know about, and things like that. And then we had like, here's everybody write down a question if you have a question, and like you'd read them aloud, and some of them were like, like someone asked, I remember the class laughing because someone asked, what is a chode? And like, so of course, like, middle school, high school,
Yeah.
we're immature. But I
I,
remember looking back, we did cover a fair bit about, and I don't remember why this was specifically sex ed, but I'm glad it was taught anyway, about periods. And like, I remember a lot of people in my life, like even into my adulthood, were surprised that like I was like, had no problem like talking about it, or wasn't like grossed out by it. And I'm like, kind of just grew up the biological function. Like,
Yeah, like
we didn't really. And then we kind of covered a little bit of pornography, because that's like, internet porn was starting to like really rise when I was that age. And I imagine now they probably, a lot of it comes to that, but
Yeah, because I know that a lot of people say that, like, internet porn kind of gave them unrealistic expectations
Oh, yeah.
of what it would be like.
oh yeah, 100%
and,
does.
Like,
Yeah.
part of me is like, okay, I get that, but then the other part of me is like, okay, but do you watch Naruto and expect that you can do taijutsu? Like,
So I was actually having this conversation with a friend, not like a few months ago, and I don't think it's the situation that it gives it. I don't think anybody's expecting like, if I work a pizza delivery guy, I'm gonna get it every
Hey,
other
hey, hey.
shift.
don't.
Or if I take a
don't-
job
no.
cleaning her pool, I'm gonna, clean
Shut the
her
fuck
pool.
up.
Oh, damn.
I was gonna say I
uh,
work a pizza job and like I do bring anyway.
I think what it does, like, and I'll spare going like too,
Probably a
just
good
for the
call.
sake of where
Because
this
this is
is
probably
gonna
already
go,
getting demonetized if it could
where
earn money.
where this is probably going. But I think what it does is like, I mean, when you watch it, 90% of it, the vast majority is pretty. It's made for a male audience,
Yeah.
very clearly. And I think what it more than anything promotes is being selfish, I guess, in the situation. And like, as one of my friends put it, why do you do that? And I think because of porn and self-care, shall we say, a lot of them do it for
It's a self
releasing,
Yeah.
and that's why they have sex.
And obviously, no shame
releasing.
if that's
Yeah.
what you watch, because, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not gonna say I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try and
So-
pretend like
Well,
I don't.
not
But
in
you
my
don't
Christian
really.
Minecraft server, you don't. So, for weeks, whenever I would call him at the end of the night, because it made him laugh, I'd always go, "Bleh," and for whatever reason, that, like, somehow traumatized him, so now every single phone call, I just hear, don't do a tongue lick, like, 30 times.
Oh,
Just do it. You just got to start doing it now.
Yeah, so I try to sneak it in. Sometimes, like, we'll be on the phone and it'll start like this, just...
oh.
But yeah,
Let's confuse the fuck out of him.
yeah. I don't remember
Oh.
what we were talking about. I know that it was...
Actually, I do have one small story about what we were talking
Go
about.
for
in
it.
The sex ed stuff. This was back in junior high when we were learning more about sex ed stuff. And one of our teachers, who was female, had to try and answer a question from one of my classmates.
Oh, no.
And he basically
Oh, no,
asked, "What does semen taste like?" And then she goes, "I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that." And then promptly ate her words as everybody in the class started laughing, and she left basically in tears.
Oh,
We were told
Yeah.
it was right at the end of class too, because the bell rang, So we went to our next class, and when we went to our next class, the teacher who came in said, "Y'all need to fucking behave.
Yeah. Like,
I had somebody
We're
ask that,
middle
and she said
schoolers.
salty.
What do you want from us?"
yeah.
Like my teacher straight up answered that question. She just said salty.
Just said salty. You know what? Fair enough.
But I mean, honestly though, like she was looking back, like she was really good because most of the questions, beyond like the ones that were clearly like ridiculous,
Yeah.
like she pretty well just straight face answered, and it kind of took all the power away from 12-year-old kids laughing about it.
So
Well, yeah.
we
would.
had a teacher that I assume, even though I don't believe either of you have ever watched it, you kind of know the premise of Breaking Bad. Like, the guy was way too overqualified to be teaching what he does, kind of thing.
He was from what I understand, he was a really good chemist. Then he got like a cancer diagnosis or something, and his
Okay.
one student was like, "Yo, Mr. Teach, science bitch, you're smart.
That's
Let's
literally
go become a drug kingpins." And then
you've
he
understood the
went
plot.
insane.
So there was a teacher that we had that was very much like in a similar situation of like he had some medical issues. I'm pretty sure he had a stroke at one point. But when it came to chemistry specifically, he was a genius. Like, man could have very easily been teaching at the collegiate level, but I think because of the stroke and everything else, he probably couldn't. But because of the stroke, he had issues controlling his emotions, like most stroke victims do. And just became the butt of so many jokes. Like, so many people picked on this poor man. And whenever I think about teachers' salaries, what they kind of do, like what they go through, what students do, stuff like that, like, teachers are the real hero, man. They need to be paid so much more.
Like, as somebody who's
Yeah.
like my mother, my sister, like more women in my family are than aren't, and even then, I have a saying some relative that I don't really associate with. He might even be dead now. I don't know. Taught to rehabilitated inmates as they progressed to getting back to rehabilitating fully into society and stuff. Like, teachers are all around me, and now with my current job, a lot of the people that I work with are students that are going to become teachers, and like none of them are, at least the really good ones, are getting into it out of like it was an easy choice for a job. None of them are getting into it for the money, and some of the shit they have to put up with is ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
at one point,
a lot of them love it.
Yeah, at one point I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to teach music, but realizing that I would have one of three students, one being the student that does not care in any way, shape, or form and is just there for the credit. Two, the one that is just way, way too into it, kind of dealio.
Yeah.
And then the third one, and this would probably be the majority of ones that actually do just kind of, care about it and want to do well at it, but ultimately know that this isn't what they're going to pursue later.
It's well, and like my mother, I look at, and like I grew up in a town that changed a lot in my life, but I grew up in a small town that is now almost a city. Like, I think it's a couple hundred people off from being legally classified as a city based on population. And my mother there, she is a legend, to say, for as much as that means in a small town. Like, everybody knows my mom.
Yeah.
I am not me. I am my mother's son in my hometown. That is all that I will ever be. And like, there are numerous people who like went out of their way to tell me, I'm going to be a teacher like your mom. I'm going to be like Mrs. V. I'm going to be great like Mrs. V. She is in all of her life, and she tells me about like all of her students. Same with my sister, because she actually has a lot in common with my sister, who's a teacher now too. She has had one student in all of those years that she has actually said, like, I don't like this student.
Wow.
Or like doesn't have tons of positive things to say about.
Wow.
And she teaches 50 plus new ones a year. And in all my life, and she's been doing it at one school, same grade, for 30 years. And she knows one student that she genuinely doesn't like. And I mean, since we haven't demonetized this enough, this student literally called her a cunt in class. So like, it took a
Not
lot.
a good reason.
And like apparently the faculty told her numerous times, like, this student should not even be here. We should get rid of them. So like, yeah, Mama V had some patience.
As most
Huh.
teachers, especially nowadays, they need to have a lot more patience, and it's really sad because
Well,
like
and,
you
like-
shouldn't have to deal with this, but these kids, especially with the way this age is going, the age of the phone and and like tablet, laptop, whatever
Social
the fuck
media.
they bring into school, they're just gonna sit there being like on their phone the entire time, going through brain
Oh,
rot after
yeah.
brain rot after brain rot after brain rot.
And the worst
Yeah.
part is, and this is the thing that my mother took so long, and she always imparted on me. And people used to tell me I should be a teacher, and this is why I never did. Like, I tried to coach some kids playing lacrosse, and I made half of them cry. Like, I was just too hard on them, and half of them like would cry. So I was like, not a damn chance I could teach. But, and I was always in that mindset of like, kids are awful, kids are bad. Like, I would never be able to deal with them. But looking at it now and seeing some of the kids that I've, even if I don't work directly with them, that come through my agency, I'm like, there isn't a kid there that I can look at and go, you're at fault for what you are. Like,
Yeah.
you are not a terrible person. You're a kid. You're just a victim of circumstance. Like, I wouldn't be able to deal with half the crap some of these kids deal
Yeah.
with now. Like, and at least when we were kids, like, I didn't really have much for friends, and not that I was necessarily bullied, but most people didn't like me growing up. But I got away from it when I got home. I could go play sports. I could go play video games. I could read. Like, I could get away from it. But now, because of these stupid little wonder slabs, like, you can't escape it. It is always there. And if you're being tormented by everybody, like, you don't get a break.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I
and
feel so bad for kids.
that's the thing, like, talking about kids and stuff like that, like, the first store that I was at, the one that I was training at, a lot of these kids had a job because they just wanted to, you know, they wanted a little bit
Yeah.
of experience, maybe a little bit of money.
Learn about it.
Then I'm at this store where the income is a little bit lower, and these kids are working because they have to put food on the table.
They have to help.
Yeah, like it's just
Oh my!
it's so crazy to me to think that kids are put in a position where they have to work to be able to help out their parents, and I'm like, that's just it's
That's
because
fucked.
my grandpa was a truck driver for a majority of his life, and I don't know how much you guys know about truck driving, but even in the 90s, it paid really
Yeah.
well. Like, man was making at one point, I think I caught a glimpse of his paycheck in the 90s, like 98, 99. I want to say that he was making like 24, 25 an hour because he was driving across state lines. The further
That's a
you
lot
go,
more than what that
yeah,
would mean now.
right.
Like,
Like,
that's what I make now.
yeah, I make, I want to say before tips
Canadian.
and everything else, I think I make like 22, 23-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But on salary, my paycheck's going to be the same no matter what every single time,
Exactly.
which is great for budgeting. But I'm
Yeah.
like, I want more.
Well, and the other thing too about kids that they don't get, like, that people are so unfair, especially younger adults. Once you hit that 18, you have this like mindset of like, I'm free from all the kid shit. And the amount of times I hear people, even like people in their 40s, say like, oh, we're back in high school shit. You don't escape that high school bullshit.
No,
The same, like, romantic problems and shit you have in high school are the same fucking thing you're gonna deal with in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s. It's the same kind of crap. People talking behind each other's backs.
they're
People bullying, all
Hey.
that. An office has everything that a high school classroom does. But you're also all hormonal kids who also get blamed for a lot of shit that's not your fault. And when you go home, you have more homework to do. Like, at least most of us, when we go home from our jobs, we don't really have to
I
keep
have so
doing
much
it.
freedom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I have so much freedom. I go home and I play video games.
there is a song by Bowling for Soup called High School Never Ends. Check it
Yep.
out if you haven't yet.
Yeah.
But literally the lyrics at one point says the only thing that changes are the names, the faces, and the trends, but high school never ends.
It's true. And it's very accurate.
Mhm.
And like it
Well,
kind of sucks because
To a point, though, it does feel like it ends because you still get the people who are now Yeah, sometimes. Holy shit, do you still not get a lot of these people? But sometimes you'll come across the people who have actually mentally grown out of that high school age and stop
Well,
thinking of those things
Yeah,
and doing these things
honestly,
that are stupid.
I will say that for me at this point,
Sometimes.
I've gotten to the age, and I know that I sound old as hell when I say stuff like this, but I've kind of dissociated from people that either haven't grown up or, and I guess this is the first time that I'll kind of talk about it on the podcast. I'm not going to name names, but a specific person stopped talking to me, and her and I talked like every single day. Like we would play streams together, we would
Yeah.
record YouTube videos together, etc. And just out of nowhere, stop talking to me. And like I tried for a couple months to say hey, try to spark any type of conversation. And then around New
Getting
Year's, I just kept getting ignored. And finally at New Year's, I sent one final message that said, "Hey, I know we haven't talked in a while, but I hope that you have a happy New Year. I hope everything's going well for you." Still didn't get a response, and then a few weeks later, I noticed that I was removed off the friends list, etc. I'm like, all right,
That's fine.
I'm not gonna go chasing after people that clearly want nothing to do with me. I'm not gonna chase that type of drama.
One of the things that I noticed when I graduated high school, especially when I went to college, and I don't know how much, again, in the day and age of social media and such a more globalized age, that I don't know if this still holds for today's youth as it did for myself and for you guys, I'm sure, as well. But when you're in high school, like, your world feels so small because that's pretty much all you know. And it's those people you know, and you spent so much time with them for potentially, especially if you didn't move much, for years and years. Like, I knew a lot of the people in high school. One of my best buddies still, we knew in kindergarten.
Mhm.
We were the two kids in kindergarten that were allowed to have our own scissors, and we were the two people that should not have had scissors.
Yeah, that
terrible
is
thing.
still true to this day.
But when you grow out, the world expands, and you start to realize you don't feel, at least for me, you don't feel as much of a, this is all I have, so I have to find a way to make it work. You go, I mean, everybody will still change, you'll still grow and whatnot, but you also go, I have kind of what I want from people in the world, like the people that I want to spend time with, the people I want to be close with, and I'll find them.
Yeah.
Like, in due time. That's where I found people like yourselves, like Anna, Cody, like all the people.
You were forced into that situation.
I mean, but I could have left if I didn't love it.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't love all of you, I would just not
Hey.
be here.
Hey,
Frankly
just
speaking.
remember my first question I ever
Oh,
asked you.
fuck. The first thing I ever heard your fucking mouth actually say was, "Did we
Yo,
ever
what's
find out
Parker
your son
Sonic
goes
So,
to-"
everybody who is watching this, I want you to take a look using your real name or your Twitch handle, whatever. Look up that plus the word following the words Sonic OC and tell me what
it's
your
the
hedgehog looks
hedgehog.
like in the comments.
It's the hedgehog.
Yeah.
So you would say like your name, the Hedgehog, and then it's like
Parker
the
the
person that just-
hedgehog.
Yeah. I
Wait,
need you
what
to
the
do that and
hell?
drop what your character looks like in the comments. If I can find mine, I'll go ahead and post a picture of it there. I will
remember
probably
mine.
forget this, to be entirely honest. but
Oh yeah,
that's fine.
mine is
Here,
still
I'll
the
just post
same.
Mine real quick. Mine changed.
Mine is the same.
Mine's changed.
All
Mine's
right,
basically
here.
just silver with highlights.
So there is Baby Rhinos. There is Parker's.
I do not know the artist. I would
And
credit the artist, but I
then-
don't know who they are.
Let
It's on
me take
DeviantArt for
a
me.
look.
I think this one was too.
See, like the third one is the one I like more. That one, okay, looks good. These other ones are like, what is this garbage?
It's such a fun
Yep.
game.
And here is mine. I'm gonna have to blur that slightly because that definitely has my name in it.
Yeah, it does.
Oh well. Anyway, hopping off of that topic, I think it's time to answer some questions for y'all.
I don't want to.
So, we have 4 riddles and 5 just our typical ABCD questions. So, Nintendo began as a company selling which product? A. Trading cards. B. Action figures. C. Video games. Always has been, always will be. Or D. V-Bucks.
I know the answer. So I'll
Wait,
let Marcus answer first because
You said-
I know this answer.
I mean, it's trading cards.
It is
But
trading cards,
It
I
is
thought
trading
it wasn't
cards.
just trading cards.
specifically
I thought it was,
Hanafuda cards. Then they
thought it
expanded
was-
into other things.
like your standard deck of like 42 cards or 52 cards. Kind of stuff.
Mainly,
Like myself.
from what I understand, the first thing they made was Hanafuda cards, and then they started to
Oh.
make like regular playing cards and stuff.
Correct.
Playing
Often,
cards, thank you, that's right.
often working with the Yakuza. Funnily enough, also worked in love hotels for a while.
Yes, they did.
Then
And-
they made toys with one of the best ones being the Ultra Hand, which if you don't know, if you're at home and you don't know because you didn't grow up in the Wii, you weren't there in the Wii era. Nintendo brought back the Ultra Hand with a WiiWare exclusive game
It
called
was
Thrill
so
Off with
bad.
Ultra Hand. Go watch the commercial for it
What's it
because it
called?
is beautiful. Grill Off with Ultra Hand. It has a guy
Bad.
getting eaten by a T-Rex, someone getting
Bad.
thrown into space.
Yeah.
Like
Well, that's what an ultra hand. Oh my.
Yeah,
God.
no, the
It's-
Ultra
it's-
Hand, I think they said only
it's
sold
so
like a
good.
few hundred units when it first
It was one of
released.
their more popular toys, from what I understand. I think their most popular toy was actually the Duck Hunt toy, which makes
believe
Duck
that.
Hunt the oldest character in Smash, technically speaking. I think it was just a projector. It was before they ever got into video games.
Really?
Before
So
even Game and Watch.
okay,
there was-
because
it
that's
was
who
like
I
a
thought was the
projector.
oldest.
I was going to say,
that
Game
you
&
use
Watch
Duck
was
Hunt.
Nintendo, no?
Yeah, it was. But Duck Hunt was even before that.
Dang.
Granted,
crazy.
this was such a primitive version of a game that was called Duck Hunt that then
Yeah.
moved into what we know as Duck Hunt. So you could also say,
Okay,
like,
that'll do it.
Duck Hunt existed, but the character didn't.
That's fair.
But, I mean, in the same way, does Jumpman from Donkey Kong also fully count as Mario if he wasn't really the realized Mario that we knew in the mid to late 80s?
Yeah,
It's that kind of an argument you can have. It's really semantics.
Split-
I had to
Splitting
look this
hairs.
up real quick too. Sheriff is Nintendo's first protagonist that appeared in the arcade game with the same name back in 1979.
He's that really annoying Smash trophy.
2 years before Mario and Donkey Kong appeared in 1 year before Game & Watch.
It's also Donkey Kong exists because a different game, Radar Scope, was they put a lot of faith and money into it, and Radar Scope fucking bombed.
Can't bomb any worse than the ET game.
And there you go. There is the
Each
that
game wasn't
is
even
the
that
oldest
bad.
character.
You know, you say that. Oh yeah, I remember that guy. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the really annoying trophy in Smash Bros.
Anyway, what is Pearl's signature color in Splatoon 2? A, red, B, pink, C, yellow, D, Robux.
What the fuck
My,
is that?
my gremlin child. We support her. We love her. She deserves the best.
What were the colors? Because Parker will know this. I don't.
Oh, yeah, I do.
yeah.
Again?
A, red, B, pink, C, yellow, D, Robux.
It has to be pink.
It is pink. All right, you both are 2 for
Okay.
2.
Marina is green, which is also they're slightly different tinges,
It's
but their
Pearl and Marina,
plays.
right?
Pearl and Marina were Splatoon 2, and their plays off the Squid Sisters, which had Callie, who was pink, and best girl who I will die for. I love her so much. I will do anything for her, Marie.
Let's
And
be
then
with
later
Anya
on-
in Spy Family. Like, I will die for
I
you.
love Anya. I love Anya. She's so good.
What is the name of the orange ghost in Pac-Man? A, Pinky.
Ah.
B, Winky.
I
C,
know this one.
Blinky. D, Clyde.
I think it's Blinky.
Clyde.
It is
Clyde's blue.
Clyde.
Damn it! I thought Clyde was blue.
Blinky is blue.
Oh my god! I got it.
Inky,
backwards.
Pinky, Blinky, Clyde.
Yep.
Fucking-
And there's also another
What
one
the
that was
hell?
added later on, and I shit you not, sometimes it is referred to as Kinky the Ghost.
I think a ghost is in Marcus's room currently.
It's Kinky. Kinky's in.
No, Kinky is M.
little bit of aftermath. There was a bug.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Well, yep. All right.
Yeah, that actually kind of squished up real well.
Yeah.
You killed a living creature. Yeah, they kind of have innards that will
they
squish.
kind of explode if pressed hard enough.
Not something like that. Not something like it was a bit of a small bug. It looked like a moth.
Do you need to go wash your hands?
No, we're good.
Get some hand sanny or something to throw on, or
No, we're good. I think it was like an ant, a queen ant that was flying around in my room.
That What was Mario's first
No,
profession?
no.
A-
Hold on. Hold on. What? Why'd you stop yourself?
I don't.
Do you not know that that's what
I
they do?
don't think that queen ants can fly that
Yes,
well.
they
Is
do.
the thing.
Yes, they do. When they're
Hold
first
on.
born and they first come out, how do you think they go from different to a different colony and make a new colony? They
I
literally
believe
fly
Marcus is right on this one, actually.
Hold on.
before they become big, obviously.
So I'm gonna give you 75% credit because queen ants do not have wings all year round. It is
Right.
only during between spring and fall, which is summer. And it is now summer, so I'm gonna give you 75% credit.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. What was Mario's first profession? A. Carpenter. B. Plumber. C. Photographer. D. Iridescent shards.
I know this one too.
Carpenter, plumber.
Photographer. Iridescent shards.
Was he a carpenter first?
Carpenter.
He was a carpenter.
Okay.
Now, this one, I don't know if either of you are gonna know, because I definitely didn't. What beat 'em up video game franchise featuring brother martial artists Billy and Jimmy was later turned into a poorly received 1994 James Yukik movie starring Scott Wolf and Mark Dacascos? A. Metal Gear Solid. B. Double Dragon. C. Contra. D. Genesis.
I know this one
I know
too.
what this.
Oh, wow.
I know this one. It's
Right.
Double Dragon, isn't
Double
it?
Dragon.
All
David
right.
and Jimmy.
Dude,
They
I
fought
love
each other
that
at the end.
movie. I love that movie. It was so bad.
Look, like video game movies from that era, like come on. We got Mario, which had Mario talking about taking his girlfriend to WrestleMania. We got M. Bison dropping one of the most raw quotes of all time when he says, like, for you, it was the day your village was destroyed and your life was turned upside down. For me, it was Tuesday. They hit different back then. It was so
All right.
It
good.
did. And
Um,
it's such a wild movie that I want to go watch it again now.
All right,
I wanna watch it
all right,
again.
I thought that one would have tripped you up, but apparently not.
Because it is something that is out there. It's something that you probably never would have thought of, probably would never have seen. But I knew of the Double Dragon movie before I knew of any of the fucking games.
Wow.
Well, I knew the
Okay.
games.
Well,
I think I had one of them growing up.
yep, that would do it. All right.
If I'm not mistaken.
Last question before we hop
I'll
into
play.
the riddles here. What gaming console can you play Crisis Core Final Fantasy? A. PS2, B. GameCube, A. PS2, B. GameCube, C. PSP.
It's the
Yeah,
PSP.
this one. PSP.
All right.
It's like a nut you can play with outside.
Hey,
Hey.
wait.
And now you can play it on like everything because
Yeah.
they gave it a
Yeah.
good remake, and it's actually a really good remake.
The
And
only
it
reason I
still
knew
makes
that-
you cry just as much as the original did. Holy fuck, that game hurts.
I think the only reason I knew what it was or which console it was on was because not only did Parker never shut the fuck up about this,
Leave Parker alone.
about the
Parker's
PSP.
I never talked about the PSP.
It's also
I am the
because
one
I just knew
person
for a
who
fact it was
supported
never
that.
on the mainline console.
Yeah. I also I mean I am the one person that people know that supported the Vita. Mine's right
Yeah.
there. And
You
then
supported the Vita and what was its predecessor?
the PSP.
Yeah.
I supported the PSP, supported the Vita, had the Game Boy. I had a freaking Game Gear growing up.
Yo, same. I fucking loved my Game Gear. I had
It was
the
the size
Lion
of a
King
football.
game on my... It was fucking
It took
massive.
like 6 double A's to run.
But
Dude.
I had the Game Gear and I had the
It's
old
strong.
Lion King game on it that was
Those were hard.
impossible to fucking
Dude, the
beat.
Lion
played
King
Sonic
game
Blast.
gave me nightmares.
I played Sonic Blast, and I think that's part of why I am who I am today.
Well, as
That-
soon as
you know
you
what? Fair.
booted up Sonic for the first time, that you didn't stay.
I mean, literally, the earliest memory I have, not even video game, but the earliest memory I have was getting a Genesis and a copy of Sonic. I never stood a chance.
Forever changed. We have 4 riddles. I took from the kids version because I didn't know how good y'all were gonna be at riddles. So, if y'all do really well with these, then I'll go ahead and move on to like harder ones next time. Actually, I have 5 because I can think of one off the top of my head. But first one here: what has to be broken before you can use it?
I know
Wrong
this.
answer.
All right, what do you
My
guys
answer
think?
it's an egg.
Parker?
I was gonna say a glow stick.
I mean,
Technically, both are true.
both are true. The answer was an egg, but I'm gonna give you both
Okay.
points for that one
Well,
because
can't you eat an egg? Isn't there a way you can eat an egg with the shell on still, so you don't technically have to break it?
But you
Don't
do
have
still have to
to?
break
I mean,
the shell off to a
yeah,
point.
you
in
do
order
have to
get it.
because I assume you mean hard boiled.
I,
You still gotta peel the.
I only
I'm
cook
not-
eggs scrambled because
not
I'm
necessarily
lazy.
hard
Mine
boiled,
start
there is
sunny
a
side up but
style-
end up scrambled.
There is a style of egg that you can eat where it's such a fancy looking thing. You have that little egg in that little holder. and you
Oh,
put the
yeah,
shell
yeah,
on,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
Scoop it out. That's what I thought you were thinking.
Oh god,
Yeah.
poached.
No, not poached.
No, it's
Poached,
not
you have to
poached.
break it out because poached is
Yeah.
literally cooking it in just straight water, just the egg itself in water.
Yeah. Oh, so you're not talking about
You leave the shell
that.
on.
Oh.
You leave the shell on. You basically like cut off the top of the shell a little bit. You scoop it out with the shell still on, so you use the shell to hold the egg in.
All right.
Fancy people are weird. Also, fun fact: if you want to hear something really funny, this kind of riddle was in Lies of P when I
Oh.
played through that game. And
So
when
he's
that
cheating.
Of
question
course
popped
it
up,
was.
when that question popped up, and I looked at it because you get 2 answers. You get to say the lie, or you get to say the truth, which turns you more human, or the other thing, which you don't know because it makes you more robot. I can't remember what the other one, but I think the first one was a human, and then it said egg, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna say egg because
Probably
that's
good call.
technically the truth.
All right. What is full of holes but still holds water?
Full of holes, but still holds water.
Yep.
Oh, I should know this one. I've heard this riddle and I can't.
I've heard it before too.
Oh.
The worst part is that it's a very simple thing.
Yep.
I know. It's full of holes, but still holds water.
I'm thinking like so big and saying the ocean because technically it has a bunch of holes in it.
Human beings?
That is technically.
What are we
not-
75? What are we 75% of, and what do we have a lot of
Yeah,
in our
I don't
bodies?
think that's the right answer,
Technically,
though.
correct. Do y'all want a hint that's gonna give it away?
Sure.
Sure.
Are you ready, kids?
Oh, a sponge.
Exactly.
Fucking sponge.
Next one. What
Yes.
goes up but never comes down?
Your ego.
Well, depends on the day, let's be honest.
You gave me the opportunity.
I mean, listen, I would have if the roles were reversed, I would have taken full advantage of it myself.
Oh yeah.
Goes up.
What goes up
never
and
goes-
never comes down.
The reasons I love the Xeno series.
No, you have a
The
couple.
reasons
I-
I love Bricker.
Oh,
The reasons I love
Uh,
cheese.
I mean, both are correct. Not the answer, but still correct.
Oh, God. What goes up and never goes down? The rich.
I mean,
The gap between us and 1%.
Jesus, we got meta in here really quickly.
Hey man. Fuck the rich.
I
Eat
mean,
the rich. Sorry.
Eat them.
Listen,
Eat rich.
anyway.
I actually have no idea about this one.
I'm stumped.
All right. Well, I
It's
can't
not
think of a
just an
hint.
error.
Your age.
Oh, you guys don't know I've been diagnosed with Benjamin Button, so it doesn't apply to me.
That's
Shut up,
fair.
we're still
So
getting
Parker
it.
gets half
Becoming
points.
a child.
Next one. A man dies of old age on his 25th birthday. How is this possible?
Oh, born on a leap year.
There you go. And
That
then
one-
the
Or
last
born in
one.
500 years ago.
Yeah, or that. Oh my god. Or that. You walk into an abandoned cabin. You have one match, and in front of you, you see a candlestick, a fireplace, and a wood-burning stove. What do you light first?
the match.
That is correct.
Fuck, you're right. It's one of those technicalities. I'm like, yeah, I'll light the candlestick. What am I going to light it with? I got nothing
It's
lit.
it's and it reminds me of one of my favorite videos. I think it's like 10 years old now, of the what weighs more, a pound of bricks or a pound of feathers.
Yep. The one that my grandpa used to get me with all the time, of a plane crashed on the Canadian and American border. Where do they bury the survivors?
You don't bury survivors.
That one got me, like, that one stumped the hell out of me as a kid. And then the other one is on a roof that comes to a perfect point. A rooster lays an egg. Which side does it roll down?
Roosters don't lay eggs.
Exactly. It's just those little ones that trip you up.
They very easily could trip you up because you said rooster. That is your one word, your one
Yeah.
clue. Or you said survivors. That's your one word, one
Yep.
clue. But you end up zoning that out and think about the rest of the sentence.
Did you guys ever have teachers? Because I know that we've talked a little bit about school, and for whatever reason, my teachers like to do this kind of thing where they would either include a riddle on occasion in the test for extra credit, or at the end of the test, because they always wanted you to read all of the questions before answering it. So the last question would be like, only write in the word yes if you want 100% on the test to show that you've read every question beforehand. Did they ever do anything like that?
My
I never had
teachers,
anything.
Okay.
my teachers, I had one teacher who didn't do riddles, but she asked something that you would only know if you paid attention in class. Like before a test, she would drop something like completely unrelated, and I don't think she even counted the question, but it was just kind of like a who pays attention in class, and it might have been an extra credit. But she would like sit before the week and she would say something like, my dog Max could get this. My dog Max would get this, and harp that point home a couple times a day throughout the week or so leading up. And then on the test, what is the name of my dog?
I like that. So,
But I had an even better one when I was in college. And this wasn't even for anything. This was just specifically just kind of like a fun thing that she did, because this professor, if somehow you were watching this, Dr. Levine, I fucking loved your classes. Every one of them. You were like my favorite prof of all time. I told her all this anyway, so it wouldn't even be news. She wrote a question, and it was on I think it was a research gathering course. Yeah, I think it was the research class I took of hers. And the question was, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Which already, just putting that on a test, I love her. And one of the answers was African or European. One of them was like enough to, and then all the other answers were just references to other media. Like I think one of them was like enough to make the Kessel Run or something. I'm like, fuck, I love this prof so much for this. It was so good.
we had a teacher that this was my junior English class, Mr. Deal, and same thing. If you're watching this, which I doubt you would be, but I loved your class.
It's gonna be funny.
I remember he said at the beginning of the class, he goes, "You are going to have to pay attention to the smaller details. The overarching storyline, like you're gonna absorb that anyway because it's the meat and potatoes of the book. But I want you to pay attention to all the finer details." And his first test that we took, I bombed because I did not pay attention to these details. Like one of the questions was, what color was this character's pants? And it was just a sentence that was like, while he strode up in his green pants, like I started paying attention to so many smaller details when reading a book and found it so much more enjoyable because I was able to pull out all these little tiny facts out of thin air because I was like, huh, this is actually pretty interesting. Like focusing on all of this, it made me appreciate literature just that much more.
It shows when you learn to do that, like it really shows how much and I know that the way I word this is going to make somebody mad at me, and I get mad at me for it. It's what separates like a really, really good artist and writer from a like J.K. Rowling or something. If you want to be a decent person.
Well, yeah, I mean that.
But like it shows how difficult it really is in like a really good author. Like I don't even like horror, but like someone like Stephen King, like
Yeah.
the man paints a picture with words.
Yeah. Stephen King has
You know
always
what?
been my favorite author. I remember that there was a tweet, because I mean, savage tweets are my bread and butter. Two things that Stephen King said that made me love him forever was somebody put, "What's the difference between J.K. Rowling and Stephanie Meyer's series?" And Stephen King just put talent. And then
Wow.
the other thing that he wrote that I loved him forever for was, "Some people say that I have the heart of a child, ... Little do they know, I just keep that in a jar on my desk."
You know, that reminds me of fucking Terry Pratchett, since I've been going through the entire fucking Discworld series right now. I'm on book 23 out of so many.
There's that many
doesn't-
books in Discworld?
Yeah.
It's really there's
Oh
a
my
lot of
god.
books. There's 41 books. I'm over halfway. There's a lot of books, but he never actually gives like those very long detailed like writes out in great detail. What he does is instead says like, you know what this is like? It's like this. but
Well, and
like
that's
this.
style.
So it's his style, and it's like
Huh.
descriptive enough to make you understand what he's saying in the way something looks, because you have something to reference it to, and then say, "Oh, I know what you're saying now." Also, it's
Terry
just pure
Pratchett
British
is.
humor.
I mean, he's also
I like it.
he's a guy that, like, I've always said, when you're creative media, there are established tropes and kind of rules that you follow. And a lot of times I had so many discussions about this when I was in college in a film history class. And like so many films that break all the rules and are so good because of it. And it's like, no, you broke the rules or like the conventions because you didn't want to do it, but you don't know enough about the rules to actually like break them. This is someone who absolutely does. Like,
Fair enough.
you can do your own thing and it will still be good when you're actually still good at what you're doing. If you're just
So-
making it different for the sake of being different, you're not
Yeah.
usually not creating something good for the sake. You're making
Just
a
out of
thing.
curiosity, do you guys have like a favorite author or favorite book read that I'm assuming it's Discworld for you at this point, but
Not just Discworld. Discworld is great. It wasn't the first book I got into. The first book I got into was Critical Failures.
let's take a look at that.
I'm trying to
My,
right, Robert Bevan. It's actually really good, and it's I'm waiting for the next book to come out. The only thing I would say is that it can get very raunchy, and it has a lot of words in it that aren't okay today. But this book was written around the D&D 3rd edition, around that time,
Okay.
and it does follow a world where people get sucked into a D&D world, and things go very, very
It's
wrong,
isekai.
very, very fast. Yeah,
I had
isekai
to,
isekai because the fucking DM's is a prick, dick, asshole.
Most-
he is.
most are.
He is.
Rose by another name.
He is that
It's-
definitely basement dweller who sent his own mom to this world at some point.
Fuck,
More on
that's
that
good.
later.
My my favorite book of all time will always be The Outsiders. I'd list my next
Good
favorite
choice.
book, but it was written by someone that turned out to be a terrible homophobe, and it physically hurts me.
Fair enough.
That I can't think. The other series that I loved, and I had to Google how many it was because I knew this wasn't the author's official name. When I was a kid, the Warriors series started
Mm.
becoming a thing. It's about like cats that live like they're warriors, but they're cats. It was great, and the author is listed as Aaron Hunter, but it's just a pseudonym for multiple authors that work on the
Okay.
series.
I-
loved that series when I was like, I think I was like 12 when it started
Yeah.
coming out.
Stephen King, like I said, is definitely my favorite author, but favorite book series, it's called The Ranger's Apprentice. It's about as kids come into a certain age, they basically get assigned what they're gonna be. Like this kid is kind of built. He's gonna be a warrior. This kid is already like showing that he knows how to grow plants, so he's gonna be a farmer. But there's this one kid that doesn't really have any of those particular set of skills, but he's nimble, he's able to climb well, stuff like that, and this guy sees him and he's like, he's gonna be my apprentice, and I'm gonna teach him how to be a ranger, and it's a really cool adventure. It's a 12-book series, but it's a light read.
The other series that I love, and I'm blanking on the author's name, and funnily enough, it just got a show adaptation on Disney Plus. That was actually good. It had movies like 15 years ago, and they were shit. The Percy Jackson series, I was.
Oh
a
my
big
God,
fan
okay,
way
okay.
back when. It's very like kind of self-inserty because, like, why the fuck would Greek gods be in Los Angeles and not, Greece?
Yeah.
But, like, it was definitely like it was a charming and well-created world, and
I did enjoy the first movie though. I just the guy that was playing I can't remember.
The pen was wrong.
Listen, but the fact
Wasn't supposed
that
to click. You
okay,
wanna cap
Parker, just remember, Mickey did the right thing by putting Aqua in the darkness. Anyway, the fact that there were lines like the one guy saying, "All right, well, you go back to your Mick Jagger form," and like Hades just suddenly exploded it. Like just little quips like that made the movie enjoyable.
It was definitely like
it was an experience.
Especially now that there's an actual like series that apparently some people didn't love, but like at least it was more like
true to the
and
comic,
totally
or
consistent
books.
with actual kids doing this shit.
Yeah.
That looking back now, it's comparing the Mario movie we got last year to what we got 30 years ago.
Another one's releasing in 2 years.
And it's probably going to be great. Am I too much of a copium idiot for believing there's a chance we could see Waluigi and really wants to see Waluigi? I don't know if you care who plays it, but I want Waluigi.
I think that is possible. My only hope is that Danny DeVito voices Wario.
So good. It'd be
Like,
so good.
it would be the perfect casting.
It'd be so good. Give me Frank Reynolds' take on Wario.
Oh my god, please.
I actually watched that show now, and it is pretty funny.
One of my buddies is gonna give me his Crunchyroll info, and y'all, I am so excited to finally start finishing some anime and finally know what happens at the end of Naruto. I'm like, why do they both have an arm missing in the next series? Like, why is this person back? Like, I have so many questions that I cannot find answers to until I have a method that I don't have to pay for.
That's so good.
I'm a broke bitch, y'all.
I feel that.
Broke ass piece of shit. Yeah, makes sense. Understandable.
Um,
I have now just gotten myself down into a rabbit hole of something because we were talking about books, and like my first book ever series I ever read obviously was Critical Failures, Caverns of Creatures. And now I'm looking at this like, when the fuck is book 10 coming out? This guy had to get a actual job because he was running out of money because he wasn't able to get people into his books again.
Yeah.
So it's like, I need a real job so I can make money and start doing stuff. And now this person has started making videos of every single spell in the game. He started making videos of every spell, talking about every spell it looks like, and talk about every little thing of detail. This is incredible.
I got. Since we're talking books, I got a question for you.
All right.
Y'all ever have a book when you were a kid that like royally messed you up? Like whether it like traumatized you, whether it scared you, whether it hit you real emotionally. Because I just remembered one for
Where
me.
the Red Fern Grows had me tilted for the longest time.
No, I never really read books as a kid because
That's
I
fair.
have no ability to physically read books.
Well, I was
need
about to
all
say,
your
aren't
books.
you like, you actually are dyslexic, aren't you?
I can't read. I will read the same line 20 times over before I realize I've read the same line 20 times over.
Okay, so that's not dyslexia.
It's
I think that's just
pretty
straight up
bad.
ADHD.
It's no, mine though.
Oh, I also have trouble reading words in general, so that's just me.
Yeah. Mine growing up. And it's funny because when I was also in like middle school or junior high or something, I don't remember exactly, we got a movie on it. So it hit me just as hard again. The novel Bridge to Terabithia. And then we got the movie, and the movie is so good. It's so good, and the story is so good. Oh, there was just like randomly I was on YouTube, and there was a guy that I watched a video of, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch a few more. And he covers movies, and one of them was Bridge to Terabithia, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm crying, like
sobbing by the end of it.
Oh god, it hurt.
How many
that hurt.
between the two of you, how many video games have made you cry? A lot? Really? Okay, see, I've only
had a couple.
cried.
So many.
I've had
So
two.
many.
Actually three. The Last of Us, when
Yeah,
spoilers for games, by the way, because I mean this game came out 10 years ago.
So much anyway.
When Joel's daughter dies.
Oh yeah.
Kingdom
Sarah,
Hearts 3, the ending, like when all that was explained, what happens, the sort of like
And
got me.
you know, with the Sora stuff, yeah.
And then the Walking Dead Telltale game at the end of the first one when Lee died, like just his whole speech talking to Clementine and like her either having to shoot him or leave him to turn, and just that made me cry on stream.
There are so many, honestly, that now
They're-
like I mean there are multiple that have like I've been happy enough just at their sheer existence. like remakes and stuff that
Yeah.
existed. But I mean like pretty much any of the Xeno games have gotten me before. Final Fantasy 9
Is
6 as
that
well.
the
No.
Oh,
That's
okay.
9 has it. If you know, you know.
All right.
You check on your local Final Fantasy 9 fan. We're not okay. 6 as well. Like everybody talks about what happens, you know, with in 7. 6 has a way more devastating moment. Like way more
6?
painful moment. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, it does.
Have you?
Yeah.
Either of you heard the theory that she faked her death?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole because of where she was stabbed, it would not be a fatal wound, and she probably knew how to stop her heart. I'm like, no, it's not
No,
where she was
she's dead.
stabbed. It's the fact that our polygon res was only so good back then.
And it's also a thing that a lot of JRPGs do in the West is censor the blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
A lot of
yeah,
them
you do.
Okay.
And a lot of those games, if they get like, funnily enough, because I was just talking about the Xenoblade games are notorious for this as well, have actual, like, if they're localized verbatim, have lines specifically saying, like, I smell all this blood, or I see all this blood, and it's like, if you're watching the English version, you're like, there's literally no blood.
So
It's because they didn't want to make this M.
fun fact about that, in some cultures, I'm not sure the dubism or the subism that does this, but due to wanting to make it so anime is a bit more accessible, and not wanting to show blood, they have made it white instead. So now all of these bloodbaths just look like a hentai gone wrong.
Yeah, they look
Somebody's
horrendous.
fetish.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. We do not shame. We judge occasionally, but we do not shame.
No, I'll say, like, in regards to what into like games make me cry, like as I get older, a lot of them will still, but it's as I'm getting older, like it's typically much different reasons
Yeah,
for
different
what will
themes.
well, and just things that I notice and appreciate more. Sometimes it's just, I mean, every time I finish Earthbound, every time I finish Chrono Trigger, like those games just mean a lot to me. Persona 3, again, if you know, you know. March 5th just hurts.
All right.
March 5th is just a painful day, but like pretty much anything as I become an uncle, pretty much any game that has any plot dealing with like somebody like making some sort of sacrifice or caring a lot for a child, whether it's, especially if it's not necessarily their own child. Like as now an uncle who never shuts up about his nieces and his nephew and soon to be second nephew, it always hits me. It will always hit me. Like
Yeah.
Saz in Final Fantasy 13 is just one of those, like, call him a dad. Like
Ooh.
anyone who takes that kind of found family role, Kiryu from the Yakuza series, like those just will get me.
Yeah.
You probably should never touch Spiritfarer.
Oh
I
my
really
God,
want to,
Spiritfarer
though.
is so
I
good.
love
It's so
any media
good.
that deals with like mortality
It,
as like a major thematic thing and deals with like the idea of an afterlife or accepting
Mhm.
death. I mean, I'm literally watching The Good Place right now.
Okay, fair.
That show's
That
great, by the
was
way.
that was actually the one game that I can now remember. That one made me cry like a motherfucker. I had
So-
CJ literally in my chat saying, "Are you crying?" I'm like, "No, I'm not crying."
What I
Seriously.
did, because like I could see that Lady B was welling up, I would always like right as somebody passed on, I would play just the most horrendous sound alert. Like I played like the Price is Right losing horn. So like somebody passes on to the afterlife, she's about to well up, and then you hear bop 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 bow bow.
That's-
But
You're a dick.
uh-huh. But I did it for her and a little bit for me. But no, that game, especially realizing
it's-
one of the characters was just a little boy that was having to face his own mortality.
Yeah.
Like that was the one I didn't even mess with. I just went into the bathroom and cried for a few minutes.
And also there are some where it's really just the place that I am when I play it, or like
Yeah.
where I am, like when like Xenoblade 3 was gonna make me cry anyway. Chapter 5, if you know, you know, it is traumatizing. But there's just a lot of discussions in that game about what it means
Yeah.
and why it's important to like push, and why we deserve to live free, and a lot of conversations about death. When I played that game, my father was in the hospital and I genuinely thought he was not going to make it to Christmas. So like
Yeah.
that game, as well as the fact that it references the previous games, I pretty much teared up every time I played it for 2 weeks. Like
Yeah.
it was ruining me
Well-
because just where I was.
Yeah, well, that's like there's a song called "Grandfathers Never Die," and it was a guy saying like that he doesn't want much, but he has a few wishes, and like out of the 5 things he lists, one of those was grandfathers never die, and before Grandpa passed away, I was like, oh, that's a sweet message. Now that he's passed away, like the first time I heard this, I was at work, like I had to separate myself
Yep.
and like find a place where this music could not hit me because it immediately just reignited that pain. It's one of my favorite things that media is able to do, and also one of the things that I hate that media is able to do is
Yeah.
just invoking these emotions.
And
It's
now something to break away from the bad emotions. Here,
oh my
have this meme I
Christ,
just came
Marcus.
across.
Jesus Christ.
To break away from all the bad emotions.
Pussies and bitches, pet shop and grooming salon.
You're welcome.
I both love and hate you for that. I want you to know
Why? What's there to hate?
you mostly.
What did I do? I have done
Oh,
nothing wrong.
one thing I wanted to bring up to again tear away from the bad stuff here, because this Saturday it's gonna be months before at this point when this particular episode airs, but I am doing a 90s slash nostalgia commercial tier list. Parker, if you wanted to post some stuff, there's a 90s
Oh.
commercials channel. But
Yeah, I saw that.
what are some channels that, like, even though they are no longer relevant, that you still remember? Because I can think of 3 offhand. JG
Like
Wentworth,
television? Oh,
Call
commercials, yeah.
J. Kobold.
877 cash now. FREE, that spells free, creditreport.com, baby, for the Credit Karma commercials. And then the opera sound effect for creepy crawlers. I don't know if you guys had those.
I never got that one. You're
So,
reminding me of a commercial now. I gotta go find it.
This won't mean anything to a huge majority of the people watching, but if there's one Canadian out there,
3% of my viewer base is Canadian.
okay, so
You might be
don't
that
you put it
3%
in your
BT
mouth.
dubs.
That's all I have to say, and they'll know. I just put it in that channel, but just don't you put it in your mouth. That's all I have to say. And there's a ton of Canadians that I just activated neurons for.
I am so concerned to watch it because I'm not
It's not
screening
bad.
these. Okay.
It's not bad.
Okay.
It's not quite as legendary as the House Hippo, but
Listen, the
Hippo's
House
so
Hippo is
good.
great.
especially because the entire point of the commercial was don't trust what you see in ads. Just because it's in an ad doesn't mean it's real. Every single kid saw that and went, I want a House Hippo.
Exactly. Like,
Completely missing the point of the ad.
if
why
not
is
friend,
this
why
on
friend shaped?
Yeah, no, that whole series of ads in Canada was great. There's
Now-
one that had like a boy being chased by a bunch of young girls, and they eventually caught him. And the point was, this is why you need to
Head
stay
on,
in
apply
shape,
directly to
kids.
your forehead.
There was
So-
one that had a television sarcastically talking to you that was trying to get you to go outside. There was one that everybody has a thing. What's your thing? My thing, sound effects. Here's a T-Rex. There's a couple of Canadians that I have activated neurons for.
So
Good.
I need to know, like, was this like Canada's infomercial period kind of thing, or
It was just that we had a lot of, and I think it might have been a thing from the government, but it was called like Long Live Kids or something. It was just a series of ads that played on
Sure.
stations like YTV, Teletoon, that just existed as like well-being commercials.
So did you
Um,
all also then have the commercials of the girl that was laying back? It was completely deflated, and it's like she can't hear you. Why? Because she tried pot once, and now she just lays
Oh yeah,
around like
we
that.
had a lot of those
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
Like the great thing about Canada was we did have our own stupid wonky ass bonkers culture, but we got a lot of your guys' shit too.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Like yeah, we got some ridiculous shit.
Tell me your favorite 90s and or nostalgic commercial in the comments below, because honestly, like, I feel
Oh,
like
mine's also
now there are some funny commercials out there, and like obviously the Super Bowl commercials are always top tier, but I feel like the 90s commercials just hit different.
When they're like, to me more than anything, the ones that stand out are game commercials, because so many of them, not just like were they wild or maybe I like the game, but
Oh
like,
shit, that was a '90s
in
commercial.
what universe was this supposed to tell you anything about the game? What on earth about a man just gorging himself and exploding has anything to do with Yoshi's Island?
Okay.
Like-
Well, do you remember the Pokemon one?
Yeah, where they like squished everybody in a bus.
Oh, there was one that was
Yeah.
also worse. It was, I want to say, when Generation 3 came out. Like, this kid is walking through the park and he goes, confusion. And, like, all
yeah.
these people begin stumbling
Yep.
over themselves. Sleep powder. And these people just collapse onto the ground. I'm like, you want kids to buy it? No wonder parents think this is the new Satanic Panic.
No, I just
They're,
posted another one. that
Yo,
I'm
the
sure we all
Smash
fucking
Bros.
remember.
commercial.
Super Smash Bros. Commercial.
Oh,
It just devolves into chaos. Okay.
it's just like, what do you mean they're just beating the shit out of each other? There was also a great commercial from back in that era that was, it was a dog, and it was like that classic, like, we kind of can animate it but not really, of a dog talking, and it was just this dog that was jealous that the kid was playing Hey You Pikachu and only wanted to talk to Pikachu.
I
The
remember
dog's like,
that.
he only wants to talk to Pikachu.
I
Play with Pikachu.
remember
Walk
that.
with Pikachu.
I 1,000% remember that commercial. I can't believe that I remember that commercial, but I do. And if you ever played Hey You Pikachu, it only recognized like 14 commands at
recognized-
best.
Yo, I
And
almost
I'll go
I
against
almost
that
beat
though.
That fucking game.
The VMU was a well developed piece of software, and it registered your mouth pretty well. Like, it registered what you said.
Ayo.
The problem was that they programmed Pikachu to be a dumbass
Yeah.
who just doesn't listen to you. Like, he knows what you're saying. This ain't the mic ain't failing you on this. Pikachu is a prick.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the
it
good
was
thing you
basically
got out of it.
well,
He's too high leveled.
not only that, but the thing is, like, it was legitimately a wild Pokemon that you invite
Yeah.
into your home and you don't expect it to fuck shit
And
up.
he starts
No.
throwing his shit at you.
Yeah.
Literally.
He electrocutes
throws
your
poop at you.
TV. Oh,
You
man.
my
play the
God, I don't know
guessing
why.
game and he gets it wrong. I know what a fucking oddish is, you little prick.
You also just reminded me too now of games doing fun stuff. Was fucking one of the Metal Gear Solid games on the Nintendo, or on the GameCube, would read your fucking save file and actually start talking.
I thought that was
No,
the
no.
PS1 MGS.
Both then, because
Oh,
it did
yeah.
with GameCube as well.
Well, if
But
I
yeah,
remember
when
right,
you
the
talk about what
PS1 one,
games
you
you
had
like.
to actually take the controller
plug
out and
it
put
into
it
the
into the
second
other
controller.
port. Yeah.
But
Same
I think
with,
it was
like,
the
the
same
GameCube
guy,
one, too.
Psycho Mantis. He
Yes,
would like
it was
come and be like,
Psycho Mantis.
"Oh, you really like Final Fantasy VII, don't you?"
Like,
And you start
something like
talking about
that.
stuff in your game files, make you switch controllers,
yeah.
freak you the fuck out. Could you
It's,
please not do stuff like that?
Well, I mean, that's like
Gee.
Flowey from Undertale. Like, it was the same kind of
Mhm.
thing of just
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's
oh,
true.
you, do you think that you could do a pacifist run this time around, etc.? Or, like, I remember when you killed me, it's like, oh, could you please
The,
not remember that, actually? That'd be great.
I mean, there's also Doki Doki Literature Club.
Oh my
But
god.
another
Remembers
game,
everything
and
you've
no one
done.
has played this. I don't even think most people have even heard of this game. It came out, I think, in 2017. It's a 2D platformer, and all I'll say is it has some really good mind fucking elements. And if you like things that like aren't what they seem, or you like 2D platformers, the game Icy, it's
Heard of it.
really good.
How you spell it?
ICEY. It's really good, and people should play it.
I really need Google to not fucking listen
Here, I'll
into the
put it
stuff
in.
we're talking about.
I'll put it in the chat. But it's a really good game. Like, I really like.
I'll have to take a look.
I'll
at
be
it.
honest. The second I started googling Icy, this was the first thing that came up. Google, stop fucking listening to our conversations.
It's
capiche?
Well, now Google's gonna do it more.
But since we're talking bonkers commercials, another one that I always look back on with a lot of fondness is the commercial for Star Fox 64, where it had like a Sega and Sony guy capture someone from Nintendo, and they're like, "You're gonna tell us about the Rumble Pack and Star Fox 64, and if you don't, Plumber Boy gets it." And they put a doll of Mario's head in a vice grip. They're like, "We're gonna squish his head."
I really
Or,
liked the Paper Mario one where you're
Yeah.
rescuing Princess Peach from a paper shredder.
The other one, and it's the whole ad campaign, because this is my favorite, and this man is now in games as this character, and it's so good. Do either of you know who Segata Sanshiro is?
Ooh.
No.
Oh fuck! Oh, this is going in. It is so to promote in Japan the Sega Saturn. Sega created a character named Segata Sanshiro, and he basically trained in the mountains carrying like a giant Sega Saturn and controller on his back,
What?
and would just like beat the controller to train. He also would like assault kids if they weren't playing the
Oh
Sega
my
Saturn.
god.
There's a clip with a guy taking a free kick in soccer, taking a penalty kick, and to stop the goal, he just lifts up part of the net. It's so good.
That sounds horrifying.
It's
He had
so
22
good.
commercials.
And then in the underappreciated crossover nonsense video game Project Cross Zone 2, he is a playable character. And like the theme that plays whenever he's on screen is just ridiculous nonsense. It's so good. There's like one where he dresses up as Santa and like breaks in and then rips off the Santa mask, and all the kids start screaming. Like, it's so good. It's
These
so
are all
bonkers.
These are all Japanese commercials, right?
Oh yeah.
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 So
The Japanese
There's
commercials
commercials-
90s
are
Japan.
they're always fucking out there.
long
Sometimes
man.
they get the
90s
fuck out of my
Japan.
brain. I swear to God, right now, I was literally just thinking long man.
Long man.
I
Well,
say
there
that
was,
at work every now and then.
same.
I
There
get
was
the
a
fucking tism going.
collection. Well, fuck, you want a throwback? I think where I found this commercial first would have been when I was like 14, and I watched Ray William Johnson, the very old
Equals
YouTuber.
3?
Yeah, and it was I think it was Japan. They were old McDonald's commercials, and it was just like this person like looked out her apartment window, and Ronald McDonald was just staring there, just fucking like Slender Man staring at her.
Oh my god.
She went, and I'm like, this does not make me want some nuts.
You'll want to watch this when you're alone. By
Oh, I'll watch it now.
it's called Orangina. The commercials for Orangina are wild. Like, I'm pretty sure at one point, the girl slaps one of the guys on the balls and just keeps moving.
Yeah.
But
I
They're
need to see
bonkers.
this.
yeah,
Old
I'll
commercials are just like this is the rabbit hole I always want to go down.
I posted the name of it in the chat there for you, Orangina.
They're so good, but
Yeah.
but like even so, like the Segata Sanshiro, part of what makes it so much like one of my favorites is in like Project Cross Zone. His whole shtick is like he breaks the fourth wall and tells people about their games. And one of the other games that got represented was Fire Emblem Awakening, which was the first time that Fire Emblem implemented casual mode, where units wouldn't permadie if they died. Of course, longtime Fire Emblem fans that, were mad that people else have an option and the series got to stay afloat, we're super mad about it. So one of the things that Sega Sanshiro does is just fucking berate Crom for thinking about playing casual mode. He's like, you must play on whatever the fuck it was. Classic mode, Crom.
I
You must
love
play
that.
Classic, and Crom's like, I don't know what to do. Lucina, what do we do? It's so good.
Hey, Bricker.
Yes,
I gotta fucking ask something real quick.
yeah.
I'm not even 4 seconds in to
Mhm.
watching the commercial
Yeah.
for this. What the fuck?
So, story time. You remember the girl that I told you about that had the unfortunate phone incident?
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
she is part of the furry community, but we call her like a diet furry because like she likes to howl and like wear a wolf tail every once in a while, but that's like about as far as it goes, kind of dealio. I
Fair
think
enough.
she does it because she just kind of likes how it looks things. But in her diet furriness, and also she has a general fear of cactars. I'll tell that story in a moment. Oh, it's great.
What?
But she was the one that actually showed us this particular video series, and we kind of went down the rabbit hole and watched like 10 or 11 of these commercials. So, cactars.
What the?
It was one of the games where you can like free roam the desert or something, and she was
12?
maybe, I don't know. She was
If it was a bad game, it was probably 12.
I don't know. All I know is that she said she was walking through the desert, and
Yeah, 'cause 12 is desert cactar early on.
she hears the footsteps and the sound of one, jerks her camera angle over, nothing there. She turns back, and as she turns back, right in front of her, one darts across the screen, scared the shit out of her, been scared of them ever since.
They're
So-
little fucking menaces, man.
They are.
You know what though? You know what was also great though? Cactars can dunk. You can. I shit you not. If you don't know about this, there is a Square Enix developed Mario basketball
No.
game for the Nintendo DS that you can play as like a cactar, you can play as a ninja, you can play as a black mage, you can play as the greatest design that the white mage has ever seen. Holy shit, it slaps so well. And I believe a Moogle too. So a cactar dunking on Waluigi is a real thing.
All right.
I
Wow.
hate everything you have just said. Oh
It's
my
so
god, you
good.
in trying to look this up though, there was we just triggered a fucking memory of Final Fantasy VIII when I was playing that, and there was the Jumbo Cactar, that massive boy. God, what a fucking world we live in.
And on that note, that has been this episode of Scheduling Conflicts. Once
Episode-
again, I am Bricker Boom.
I'm the baby rhino or Marcus, whatever you want to call me, and that's a cactar over there.
Yep,
or
that
over
is
there, or
a
wherever
that
the
is
fuck
a
you
cactar
Cactar.
and or Parker. Bye, y'all.
Damn, I'm so upset right
Bye.
now.